Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
Metalloid Firearms and Sports, utilizing botanical technologies to develop an advanced high-performance line of environmentally friendly firearm maintenance products that will not only clean and protect your firearms, but also your leather and wood components. Find out more at metalloidfirearmsproducts.com. And by Mr. Muskie Charters, offering full-service guided fishing trips for walleye, muskie, bass, and sturgeon on Lake St. Clair and the Detroit and St. Clair rivers. Booking information is online at mrmuskiecharters.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson. PBS stations are in pledge drive mode this week, so we do have a shorter show for you, but it is a jam-packed show for sure. We're going to start out with Gabe Van Wormer, who takes us to Grayling, Michigan for the 69th annual Au River Canoe Marathon. You won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy and Jordan have been working on another great story for us too this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have another story on this week's show, and it's something we've been thinking about doing now for a few years. We finally found the right person. Our good friend Mike Kennedy is going to run us through some tips and some things to be thinking about if you're buying a piece of property, leasing a piece of property, or maybe something you can do to that piece of property to make it a little bit better for chasing critters. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen. By KL Outdoor, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsmen's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information and other products, kloutdoor.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Each year, the last weekend of July finds the city of Grayling bustling with activity. You'll see license plates from all over North America. They've come to compete and watch the greatest marathon canoe race in the world.
The Au River Canoe Marathon is the top marathon canoe race in all of North America. There's a race, part of the Triple Crown, the Classique up in Quebec, that in many ways is similar yet different to our race, but this is the most competitive field you will find anywhere in North America. Top marathon canoe racers from 19 states and Canadian provinces, and they come to this race because they want to see how they stack up against the other top racers.
There are 2 weeks of canoe racing activities, but the start of the canoe marathon begins with the time trials. Racers sprint upstream, make a 180-degree turn in a very tight section of the river, and head back downstream. The fastest teams will do this in just under 5 heart-pounding minutes. The results of this race determine the starting positions for the canoes on Saturday night. It's a very tricky thing to turn in one of these extremely tippy canoes.
So the canoes used in this race are very technical. I call them stealth canoes. They're made out of carbon fiber. They meet very exacting specifications for the canoe design and weigh as little as about 23 pounds. The object behind these canoes is once you get the canoe moving at a certain speed, it gets up and hydroplanes across the water.
On Saturday evening, the paddlers get their last-minute gear loaded on the boat and prepare for the start. Racers come in all different ages, shapes, and sizes. David Phelps was racing with his grandmother Janet Bradford, both with prior race experience. One of the big inspirations in this race was Matthew St. Pierre, who had finished this race several times before a logging accident left him paralyzed. He was competing in this race with a special seat in his canoe and would sprint to the start and portage every dam using his wheelchair.
Not getting sick. At night with the fog, being in the bow, it's just like motion sickness kind of, and you just kind of hallucinate because you can't really see. And so I would say that's my hardest part, but.
For me, it's just knowing that you're going to get mental lows and you just have to paddle through it. You can't give up. I'm never going to give up on my teammates. So you hit these lows, but after every low is an awesome high. So you just have to keep paddling through it and it's going to come. Yeah. So don't give up.
Dropping's not an option for us.
Always the finish is your first goal, but then always to win is the second. So, but you never know. I mean, it's a long race.
This race, I want to try to finish in under 16 hours, 30 minutes, and just have a safe, clean race and learn as much as I can from my Uncle Ted.
The paddlers were ready, and it was time for the wild start of the marathon. The start is absolutely crazy for the racers. Thousands of people cheer them on as they attempt to make it out of town without any incidents while navigating the tight, shallow upper river. As darkness falls, they fall into a rhythm, and the crowds slowly become smaller and smaller.
Doing okay? Everything good down there? Right? Stuff down there waiting for you, okay? Get that stuff out of there. That's your boat. Let's go, gentlemen, let's go! Good job, Andy. You're taking up time. Good, guys.
At Mayo Dam, familiar faces are up front in the race. Two-time runner-up Christoph Prue and three-time runner-up Ryan Halstead are in front by a mere 1 minute. Hot on their heels is 10-time marathon champ Andy Trebold and first-time paddler Jacob Dubois. The monotonous night of racing is now broken up only by portages and the occasional bridge with fans and some food exchanges with their feed crews.
A couple minutes, 2 or 3.
You know, it's a perfect fit for Consumers Energy because we have our 6 hydroelectric dams along the Au. And even though this is a legendary race that's been here since 1947, we've actually been on the river longer than that. These dams were built between 1911 and 1924, and they serve actually an important purpose during the race because they're used as timing spots for the racers. The racers know when they need to be at a particular dam at a particular time to be competitive, and they're tracked along the way, but they portage their canoes across each of the 6 dams, beginning at the Mile Dam. That'll happen about 2 a.m. this morning, and then they'll follow up with the next 5 dams until they reach Oscoda. So it's really important. It's also, these dams are a fantastic place for spectators to actually view the race. They can stop at these things, and thousands of people actually congregate at the dams and watch the canoers come through. So it's really a fantastic race. Consumers Energy couldn't be prouder to be a sponsor of this year's Au Canoe Marathon.
Very few marathons are destined to become instant classics, but this was one of them. The top 2 canoes battled all night, and from Mile Dam on were neck and neck through the next 5 dams. Mere inches separated the 2 canoes. Coming to the line, it was the team of Prue and Halstead that just edged out the defending champion and denied him his 10th consecutive victory. Congratulations to Christoph Prue and Ryan Halstead, who not only got his first win, but also earned the Iron Paddler Award in the same year. If you've never been up to see this great race, then put it on your calendar for next year. It's one of the great Michigan traditions since 1947.
Well, special thanks to Gabe for bringing us that story. That is such a cool event that happens every year in the Grayling area. And it really just highlights all the natural resources that we have here in our state, our inland waterways, our Great Lakes, all of the state land that we have. And for a lot of us, we kind of wish we had our own little piece of paradise, whether that's in the west end of the UP or just a half a mile down the street from wherever you live. In this next story, we're going to show you some things that you can be thinking about if you'd like to purchase a piece of ground, maybe to lease, all the different things you can be doing it to make it better for wildlife. Well, hey, we are here today with Mike Kennedy. Gosh, we've known Mike for, I don't know, 15 years or so. We've had him on the show deer hunting, turkey hunting, trout fishing, the whole 9 yards. And this time of year, we're looking for stories that are different from just summertime fishing, which is great. But we started thinking about, you know, if you're going to buy property, all of us would love to probably own a nice piece of property either up north or down the street to do some deer hunting or pheasant hunting, whatever it might be. Mike is kind of an expert when it comes to land. Not only does he work for a company that helps finance property and that kind of stuff, but you own land, you lease a lot of land, you lease land on a state. If somebody's looking at buying some recreational property, what are some tips that you'd give that person?
Well, you know, I think, you know, first you try to find a spot that's close within driving distance of where you want to go. If it's something you want a long ways away and a getaway that's 5 hours away in the Upper Peninsula, that's good, but a lot of people like to be able to get to the property fairly quick and enjoy it, and just as a quick getaway. You know, you got to look at what you're going to use the property for. Is it going to be are you going to be, mainly if your interest is pheasant hunting, you're probably not going to want big hardwood forest. You're going to want open fields and cropland. But if you're a deer and turkey hunter, and I'm an avid deer and turkey hunter, I wanted a spot that had a lot of, a parcel of land that had a lot of cover, a lot of transition from brushy areas to openings to cropland, something that the deer and turkey really like.
So now if you're looking at a 40-acre piece or 80-acre piece, let's say you're probably 75% of our audience would be, you know, maybe looking to do some deer hunting. Do you want to try to find a piece of property that's all set and ready to go? Or are you looking for something to kind of manipulate what you want? What do you say to those folks?
Well, for years I always wanted, when I first started looking for property, I was looking for the perfect property. And,
right.
and
which probably doesn't,
it
probably does exist,
well,
but it's probably pretty
they
pricey.
exist, but they're hard to find. It's like I've never seen a hunting parcel for sale, an advertisement that, you know, they always say excellent hunting. Well, then when you get there, you find out, well, it's not my dream property.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is almost any property can be changed or altered to improve it for the species that you want to hunt.
Yeah.
So you can make improvements to it. The parcel that I originally bought, I ended up buying from my father-in-law, and it was mainly mature forest, southern Michigan forest, and it wasn't really suited for deer and turkeys because there was hardly no undergrowth. It was, I call it park syndrome. You could look and see 200 yards through the woods, and it needed to be thickened up so that the deer and turkeys were more comfortable there. So I did a lot of work on habitat improvement to fix it and make it more desirable.
And what are some of the things that you can do to, because I think you're right, if you find the perfect piece that has all the stuff, that's great. Those are hard to find or they're really expensive. So what are some things that you could do let's say for the landowner that buys a 40 or buys an 80, and it's pretty much just, like you said, one kind of thing. What can you do to that property?
Well, the first thing I did on my property is I hired a forester, came in and marked trees that were less desirable that I wanted removed. I left all the mass producing, like my oaks and a lot of the beech, because of the beech nuts, any mass producing type of a tree, I left those, but I cut stuff that were less desirable, like basswood, elm, trees that I could get some value and it helped pay for the property. But then that lets sunlight down in, so you'd get a regrowth and thicken the woods up. So that was the first thing I did to improve it. And then all the logging trails that when they logged it, I kept open so I had access in and out. The log decks where they loaded their logs, or where they had a little portable sawmill there, I made those into food plots. They were already kind of cleared. It made it easier than to hire a bulldozer to come in and take out a few stumps and give me a real perfect little food plot in the middle of the woods. And then other areas that had poor quality trees, I went and cut down a lot of the trees there. I had the forester mark more trees, so that it made a real thick area that was good for bedding for deer, and it was just a real thick area. My whole goal was trying to create a lot of edges in the property. Wildlife like edges. They like to transition from deer really love going from open fields into a forest, so they like all that thick brushy edge. So when you go and create as many edges as possible, you have more and more wildlife on your property. Plus, we have it lucky too, in this property and any property you look for, it's important to have maybe water source of some sort, streams or something. So I was always looking for, ideally, where there was a lot of little streams or water holes for the deer and the wildlife.
Okay, and I thought it was kind of interesting too. You mentioned that there are some things you can do. I think a lot of us are scared by the price tag. Oh, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars or 50, whatever it might be, and it's like, that's just too much money. But there are some things that you can do to kind of help offset those costs. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, exactly. Like I'd already mentioned, having the property logged, and and you can actually get in, if you got the right type of woods, you can log it every 10 years. And that's an income that comes in. Like I said, I went through and I got parts that I want to log down the road, and other parts I'd just soon stay thick and I'd keep it down into thick brush. Yeah. What else would I do? I could, if you got cropland, tillable ground, you can rent it to a local farmer, and that helps pay might pay the taxes on the property. That's exactly the case of what I got. What I get in cash rent for renting the tillable ground pays for the taxes on the property. The other thing you can do, there's other government programs that are out there, working with Farm Service Agency, the NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service. You can enroll your property in CRP, or Wetland Reserve Program. The Conservation Reserve Program, CRP, it's all native warm season grasses. Deer love grasses. A lot of people don't realize how much deer love tall, warm season grass fields. Wow. And you can take a wide open field that looks like there's never see a deer in it and put warm season grass, and it just be you hit a home run there. Wow. And then the government pays you an annual payment. It's like renting it. Okay. So that's good. Or if the property happened to have any house or something on it that you weren't going to stay at, you could always rent the house out. So there's rental income there.
So you want to be creative. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So just to kind of, so you kind of want to, what do I want to use the property for? That's something to really be thinking about. What either has been done to the property or what you can do to the property. That would be some things to think about. There are some creative ways that you can help offset some of the costs. That's good. And just to kind of, if there's any one thing or just a couple things that you have done to properties over the year that you're like, wow, once I did whatever it was, that's when I really started to see critters kind of moving it. Is there one kind of main thing, or is there a couple main things?
It's a lot of different things. Okay. Like I said, when I bought this property, it was all mature woods, so I had to thicken it up and get more browse, and that really helped the deer numbers jump up. The food plots help too, because it gives a lot of desirable food source. But any animal needs to have the right habitat. It needs to have water, it needs to have a good food source, it needs to have secure cover. And really, thermal cover is really important too in the winter, especially in the northern part, like a cedar swamp or a pine grove or something where they can get in the wintertime and help them through the harsher winter.
Well, special thanks to Mike for all the good information when it comes to purchasing property. If you would like some more information, we have an extended version of this story on our website and also on our Facebook page.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online next time you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways on our website at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com or on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We're on Facebook every few days letting you know where we are and where we're headed next. And speaking of where we're headed next, the hunting seasons are officially here. Early goose season has kicked off. We'll bring you some action from the field for the goose season, for the youth season, all sorts of fun stuff headed your way.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Lots of good stuff happening this time of the year. There's so much good to look forward to when it comes to the hunting seasons, but there's also a lot of good fall fishing. We're going to have a really cool fishing story from a father-son on next week's program. We're also going to chase along with some hound hunters and show you how to train bear dogs. You won't want to miss that story. And if things go well this week, we'll have a good opening day goose story for you as well. Lots of good stuff coming over the next few weeks. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Rosie Brothers. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by Marvel Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my